Hello, Andre Garcia here once again with Lightning Loans by Innovative Mortgage. And today, in this video, we're going to be talking about interest rates buydowns. I have heard so much about interest rate buydowns. I don't know if you guys have heard as much about it. And this video is mostly for real estate agents, also, of course, for borrowers. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard about it as much as I have, because I've been getting peppered for weeks and weeks by every lender in my system. And, it's just everybody's talking about these interest rate buydowns. So I want to explain to you what it is, how it works, and how you can work it into your offer. Okay. So interest rate buydowns, they've been around for a very long time. They've always been around. They never went away. It's not a new thing. It's just something that has come up again because of the financial circumstances that we find ourselves in, with rates being what they are and whatever. So it just makes more sense now. Before, it just didn't make sense to buy down the interest rate anymore. Now it makes more sense to a lot of people. Okay. So one of the types of buydowns, first the 2-1 buydown. Okay, so in a 2-1 buydown, what happens is, let's say you have a note rate of 5.375. For the first year, they're going to calculate the payment as if you were paying a 3.375% interest. They're going to calculate the payment at 3.375. And that will be your payment for the first year. The second year, they're going to calculate the payment as if you were paying 4.375%. And that'll be your payment for the second year. And then from the third year on, you just pay the standard mortgage payment. Okay. So it's good, can be good. It's a way to graduate into the full mortgage payment. It's a little reminiscent to me of that. I don't know if you guys remember. There was this horrible loan which I never sold a single one. It was like the pick-a-pay loan. It was back before the meltdown, negative amortization, and the real payment was like $3,000, and then people could pay like $700 a month for like 2 or 3 years before it adjusted to the full monthly pay. It was just a nightmare loan, and it got a lot of people into trouble. And a lot of my business was talking people out of that mortgage and putting them into a 30-year fix, because that pick-a-pay loan was suicide. Yes, it's not reminiscent, because in this case, there is no negative amortization. You don't have that crazy pick-a-pay thing that they used to do. Essentially, the way that it works in the back end is, okay, well, here, let me show you. Because you're essentially the seller, you're asking the seller for some cash in order to make this happen. So in lieu of a discount, you would be, you tell them, like, I want some concessions in order to buy down the interest rate. Okay. So let's pull up this little presentation here. I always forget how to do this. Share screen. Okay. And, okay, where did it go? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So, no, we got to open this up more. Okay, there we go. Now we can see, right? Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay, so note rate, and this is not a mortgage quote. This information the payment is calculated accurately, but there's no closing costs. There's none of that. So this is just an example scenario, not a mortgage quote. Let's say you were getting a $500,000 loan. Okay, and got an interest rate of 5.375. That gives you a payment of $2,800 per month. Okay, what they would do is the first year, they calculate your payment as if you're paying a 3.375. So for the first year, you have about a $600 a month savings, $2,200 per month that you pay. Okay. The second year, they calculate the payment as if you were paying a 4.375, and as you can see, it's about a $300 a month savings from the full mortgage payment. After the second year, once you're in the third year, you make the $2,800 a month, and then that's your payment until you refinance, sell the property, or pay it off. Okay, and just in terms of the mechanics of it, essentially, the only thing that's happening, or what is happening, see, 600. Let's do some quick math here. So 589 times 12, you're saving $7,000 the first year, $7,068 roughly, and then the second year, roughly 10,000, 11. Let's call it $11,000. We're rounding up for simplicity's sake. So over the first couple of years, you're saving roughly $11,000 in monthly mortgage payments. The way that you're doing that is you're asking the seller for $11,000 as an interest rate buy down. Then you're asking the seller to lower the price of not necessarily the price, because the price is going to stay the same. So you make the price stays the same, but they're going to give you some seller concessions of, in this case, it would be $11,000. They're going to give you $11,000 in seller concessions, and then the mortgage lender holds on to that money in order to subsidize your payment. So essentially, the seller is paying a portion of your payment for the first couple of years of the loan. Okay, so that's it. At this time last year, it was probably unthinkable because the market was so hot. Everybody was paying over sticker. Everybody was paying cash. All of the hedge funds were involved. Now, sellers are a little bit more flexible. Definitely not quite as flexible here in Florida as they are in some other parts of the country, because the market here in Florida is actually still very solid. But it's still possible. It's still happening in Florida, and you can find these kinds of deals. You submit you have to ask for it. You have to submit the offer with the interest rate buy down. And there's a chance that they'll accept it. Of course, there's a chance that you lose the property, that you lose out to another offer. But, if you have a good real estate agent that gives you the appropriate advice, maybe you can avoid that. So yes, that is the 2-1 buy down. Oh, and there's a third one here that I did, which is this permanent buy down. So what I did is, because I do have access to this note rate, this APR would not be accurate. So what I did was, all right, so what if instead of an interest rate a temporary buy down, what if we use that same amount of money to do a permanent buy down? Okay, because you can buy down the interest rates. When you pay points on a mortgage, that's essentially what you're doing. You're buying down their interest rate. So in a scenario like this, if this was a real scenario, $11,000 on a $500,000 loan is a little over 2%. So I calculated, all right, so what if we use that 2% as discount points in order to buy down the interest rate even more, like permanent interest rate buy down? So this, in this case, or in this fourth option, your note rate would be 5% from the beginning. Your payment would stay the same the entire way. But as you can see, it's $115 in savings, which is a lot less than $600 a month. In order to recoup that discount money, actually here, I can show you this. So this is not accurate. I think it's calculating tax savings. So what you can see here, this note rate, this is going to be accurate-ish, because this 247, you have to subtract the savings. So 247 minus, let's call it 11,000. $236,000 after 10 years. After 10 years, I don't know. Yeah, because that's all of the money. Anyways, after 10 years, the permanent buy down ends up coming out ahead. This is over the course of 10 years and $115 a month in savings every single month. So that's something to consider. I'm not one to say what's the better idea. It's all about what you think. It's your finances, your monthly payment. So what would you prefer? What are you most comfortable with? The only thing that I'm here to do is present you with all the information and options that you need in order to make an intelligent decision. Okay. So, something to consider. This is not talked about a lot. Using instead of the temporary buy down, using the permanent buy down. This is sexier. It's newer. A lot of people think it's new because they've never heard of it before, but it's been around for a long time. Anyways, moving on. So that is the 2-1 buy down. Then there's the 3-2-1 rate buy down, which is actually not used quite as much, but it's essentially the same idea. 3-2-1 is the amount of discount points. So a 5.375 note rate, the first year would turn into 2.375. The second year would turn into 3.375. The third year would turn into 4.375. And then from the fourth year on, you're making the full mortgage payment. Okay. Now, in this case, you have to ask the seller for even more concessions because there's the additional year of savings. There's the additional year of savings. So, it just depends on what that scenario is and how comfortable you are and how long the property has been. And if there's no other competing offers, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sending out an offer like this, but you just have to be aware of the circumstances. If you're on a property that has multiple offers or something like that, then you might want to be a little careful. If you're afraid of losing that property. But look, it's an option. It's something that a lot of people are doing. Oh, and we can take a look at the numbers for this one. So note rate 5.375, year one. As you can see, you're saving $800 a month. That's over 10 grand. Right? Yeah, it's over 10 grand. So year one, you have a payment that's $800 a month lower. Year two, you have a payment that's $600 a month lower. Year three, you have a payment that's $300 a month lower. So in this case, you will be asking for about $20,000. About $20,000. But this is on a $500,000 property. So yeah, here you're roughly about a little over $20,000 that you'd be asking for. Now, as you know, $20,000 is more than $11,000. So you see why the 2-1 buy down is a little bit more popular, because people they want a deal, but they don't want to push it too much because they still want to get into the property. But that's going to be between you and your realtor. 3-2-1 buy down. That's what it is. Year one, you save. You have you don't have an interest rate. You never have this interest rate. They're just using this interest rate to calculate the payment, and then the seller puts up the cash. Out of his closing proceeds, X amount of money is going to be set to the side, is going to be held by the lender. You send a monthly payment in. You send the whatever scheduled payment in, then they take a little bit every month out of the escrow in order to make the complete payment. And after 3 years, that goes away. And in 3 years, in the case of a 3-2-1 buy down, then by the fourth year, you're just making the full mortgage payment. It's a way to save some money. It's a way to make it easier to get into a home. It's a way to soften the blow from what's happened with interest rate. And it's a way to buy some time, in case interest rates come back down, because then you have 3 years. If interest rates go back down to where they were. I don't think that's going to happen, but if interest rates go back down to where they were, you could refi, and it just gives you improved cash flow for a few years. Okay, so that's what the interest rate buy downs are. It's something that we can definitely do. It's only available for purchases, not for refinances, because or else you would just be subsidizing your own mortgage payment, and that wouldn't make any sense. So it's only for purchases. I know that builders are, if you're looking at new construction or one of these houses that people canceled on, and because builders have a lot of excess inventory right now, so I'm sure builders will be able to show you that sort of a concession. Some sellers in certain areas or some neighborhoods that they might be willing to show you that show you that sort of concession. If you are the kind of person that's just going to negotiate no matter what, then this is an alternative way that you can negotiate. Instead of bringing down the price of the house itself, which will show $11,000, it's going to be a few pennies. It's going to be not pennies, but it's going to be a few bucks. It's not going to be a lot in terms of monthly mortgage payment savings. This is a lot more significant in terms of the savings. So it's just something that's there. It's here and it's available for you. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Just wanted to go over interest rate buy downs. It can be a way that if you're a real estate agent, it can help you put more deals together. It can help you generate interest from people that are sort of bummed out because of interest rates did what they did. But of course, if you're concerned about interest rates, you're going to want to come see me, because I crush everybody. We have very aggressive rates. We have thousands of loan programs, hundreds of lenders, and I am shopping every single day in order to make sure I get to the rock bottom for my clients, for my borrowers. Okay. So thank you very much for taking a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. More than happy to help. All right. Thank you very much.